How's it going, everyone? Wraith here with another Doom Eternal video, and this time I wanted to talk about the Crucible and its possible origins. It is a huge mystery in the Doom universe and may play a bigger role than we think in Doom Eternal. Before we get going, I always want to say thank you for the support on the channel. It is really taking off and making a name for itself. Of course, it wouldn't be where it is without you all, so thank you. Also, as far as the recent giveaway I was doing, Corbett Evans won this time around. Be sure to shoot me an email and we can work out the details. Thanks to everyone who participated, and I do want to do more giveaways down the road for all the support on the channel. If you're new here and love Doom or at least similar games, be sure to subscribe and set up notifications to stay up to date with the channel. I love everything about Doom, and if you're like me, then you're in the right place. Okay, let's get started. Doom Eternal is really expanding more on the lore and origins of the Doomslayer, so much so that the developers are building a Doom universe instead of just another Doom game. I am someone who really enjoys a good story and depth into a game, movie, or whatever. For instance, one of my other favorite video games, Halo, actually has quite the background and has plenty of lore to go around. I am a huge lore nerd, and when I read up on the history of the Spartan programs and other important dates, etc. in the universe, it really blew my mind on how much effort Bungie and 343 Industries built up the game. Doom Eternal is no different, and with this new installment in the Doom franchise, we will finally be able to get to know the origins of the Doomslayer and other important events. One such event was the Doomslayer obtaining the crown of the Night Sentinels and becoming their leader to fight off the forces of Hell. This was such an important event, even so that the Dark Lords made it known throughout the Dark Realm, and that he was their true enemy and made it their priority to defeat him. The Doomslayer was so powerful that even he was able to defeat one of Hell's greatest champions, the Titan, and drive the demon horde into deeper and darker pits. The Hellwalker didn't only defeat his enemies with his bare hands, but many of them tasted the bite of his sword, which was the Crucible. The Crucible gives immense power to the one who possesses it, and it can strike fear even into the darkest of foes. With the Praetor suit, the blessing from the Seraphim, and the Crucible, the Doomslayer was unstoppable by all those who opposed him. But what makes the Crucible work, and where did it even come from? Is it a weapon from hell, or is it from heaven? Here are my ideas on its origin and what makes it such a powerful weapon. I think the first thing we should talk about is what is the meaning of the word crucible. For the most part, it has two meanings that fit this weapon perfectly. The first meaning is that a crucible is a challenging trial that someone has to go through. Using that definition, that would mean that the Slayer had to go through some kind of trial or challenge to be able to obtain the sword. The developers could have called the sword something else, but because they named it the Crucible, then it would definitely have a lot more meaning to it. The Slayer Testaments talk about many of his achievements and characteristics, so that could be enough to obtain the Crucible. On the other hand, he might have had to show his worth to the Night Sentinels and the people of Untitled a different way. For a weapon like the Crucible, it would have to be given to someone who can prove themselves worthy of the power contained within it and use it wisely. Going with my other video I had recently, the Marauder could have been a Doomslayer or something similar and could have been corrupted by his Crucible axe. The power contained within the Crucibles is Argent energy, and either the Marauder wasn't worthy or he used the Crucible unwisely. Then again, his Crucible has a more hellish design, just like the Crucible found in the Necropolis. So either Hell corrupted those Crucibles or they were like that to begin with. Other than that, if the Doomslayer came across the people of Argent either as the original Doom guy or someone else, he may have had to prove to Argent and the Wraiths that he can possess this weapon and ultimately become the leader of the Night Sentinels. For someone like the Doomslayer, he was someone unique and had a burning desire to end the Dark Realm for good. According to the Slayer Testaments, it makes it seem as if he had the Crucible before obtaining the Praetor suit, which absorbs Argent energy and keeps him safe, so without the suit, he was still able to withstand the power. Another thing that is interesting is the fact that there are the Hellish versions of the Crucible and then the more Sentinel version that we saw in the reveal of Doom Eternal like QuakeCon. I'm thinking that the Crucible that he obtains in Doom Eternal is his ultimate reward for finishing his challenge. He may have used the other version throughout his trial and would have been gifted the final version if he wouldn't have been captured by Hell and Argent being consumed by them as well. The other definition for the word crucible comes from the medieval Latin word crucibolum, if I said that right, which is a noun for a heat-resistant object like porcelain or a pot used to melt metals. So with that being said, the crucible sword is kind of like that. The heated blade part would act as a way to melt metals or be considered the melted metal part, and the handle could be the part that contains the heat. We know that energy is heat, so with that definition, it makes a lot of sense to call the sword just that. The Latin word also has the synonym of the word cross. On the new crucible Crucible Sword in Doom Eternal, you can see a cross on the hilt or cross guard, and that the same symbol is found everywhere in Sentinel Prime. With that being said, it's possible that those who lived in Sentinel Prime and in Argent-D'Nur were considered a type of Christian in the Doom universe. I mentioned something like this in my Unholy Crusade video, where the people of Argent-D'Nur could have visited other worlds, especially Earth, and adopted the use of the cross and technology from the Crusade era. That could be why the Knight Sentinels have armor very similar to Templars and may have become sort of religious and use the symbol of the cross. Honestly, it could just be a coincidence that they use the symbol and their armor is similar to the armor at that time in our history or not. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that there is some correlation between their world and ours, or it has absolutely nothing to do with anything? Now that we have somewhat established what the word Crucible means, where would this type of sword come from? We've seen the Hellish versions and then the Sentinel version in Doom Eternal, so who created the swords first and to what end? This may go all the way back to the fight between Argent-D'Nur and Hell. We have a good idea that the Argent-D'Nurians obtained the power of Argent from heaven or somewhere else, and Hell wanted that energy for themselves. The Wraiths needed extra protection for themselves, and the Knight Sentinels were formed together to do just that. But there must have been a need for a little bit more advanced weaponry to help in the defending of their world and the Wraiths. Another subscriber on the channel mentioned on a comment on a recent video of mine saying that it's possible that Hell actually had the energy first, then Heaven stole it from them and gifted it to Argent-D'Nur. To me, that actually makes a lot of sense. That could explain why Hell was so motivated to consume the world of Argent-D'Nur and take back the energy they stole. That could also explain why the first Crucible looked hellish in design, as it was the first Crucible, and the other Sentinel version was just modeled from the original but in the Knight Sentinel's design. It really does seem like the Crucible was created in Hell first, due to how there are hellish runes on the blade and just how the overall look of it is. The Doomslayer might have come into possession of this Crucible after proving his worth, and the Knight Sentinels allowed him to use it because he was incorruptible of his power. Unfortunately, we don't know if the Knight Sentinels are immune to Argent energy, because we can only see them with more of a typical sword design rather than all of them wielding crucibles. It could also just be that there are not too many crucibles out there, and the Crucible that the Slayer was gifted was the only one at the time. Once Argent-D'Nur fell and the Slayer was imprisoned, Hell was able to create another Crucible for the Marauder, and possibly other ones as well. I really hope that Doom Eternal will expand a ton more on the lore and origins of the Crucible swords, which I'm pretty sure they will. As far as the possible origins of the Crucible, one thing that really intrigues me is how it will work in Doom Eternal. For such a powerful weapon, it would most likely be available sometime by the middle or towards the end of the game. When it comes to balancing the game out, I really wonder how id will pull it off. Think about it, we have the BFG 9000, the Chainsaw, the Berserker Pack, and other power-up abilities. If everything remains about the same from Doom 2016, then we know that the BFG ammo will have pickups, the Chainsaw will have fuel, and the other abilities will be near an arena to use. If we are to have a Crucible to use, how would we obtain ammo for it, or how would it even work? Would the ammo be a pickup type of thing, or would doing certain actions fill up a meter of sorts? In my opinion, it might work like a meter to build up and then be able to use it for a certain amount of time. The BFG is used to take out a ton of enemies near you and far away, so the Crucible could be used to take out enemies close by quickly and efficiently. It would be similar to the Berserker Pack, but since that is only found in certain arenas and not all of them, the Crucible could be used anywhere, even boss fights. The meter would have to take a while to build up, otherwise players could easily spam it all the time. I would think of it as a weapon like the BFG. Use it when you are needing to clear up some space and as a last resort. This may be a weapon used by a lot of speedrunners if it will work the way I think it may work. Basically a lightsaber to cut through multiple demons, especially the bigger ones. What do you guys think about the Crucible? How do you think it will work? It's a mysterious weapon and I really want to know what you all think, so let me know in the comment section. Only several months until the release of Doom Eternal and the hype couldn't be any bigger. I'm so excited for the game and can't wait to dig into the lore and origins of the Crucible. Doom Eternal will be game of the year for sure, even with the stiff competition like Cyberpunk. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I love talking about Doom, and once I get my hands on Doom Eternal, it'll be interesting to see what kind of videos I'll be able to make. I really appreciate all the support on the channel and thank you all so much for everything. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Doing that will help a ton and keep content like this going on all the time. Also, be sure to check out my social media accounts at RipNtear Gaming to stay up to date with other things over there. Once again, you guys are all awesome, and until next time, fellow Slayers, don't forget to rip and tear. Peace.